Hey, are you great at fighting but terrible at reading? Do you go into a comatose state every round until it's your turn to say, I swing my sword? Well, congratulations, you might be a champion. But what is a champion? Well, find something to do between turns, it's gonna be a minute, practice that one sword move to absolute perfection, and make sure to sharpen that undeserved superiority complex, because it's fall yet again, which means it's basic season. Between all the pumpkin spice, those vests that make white girls look like Han Solo, and posting way too many pictures of the fish you caught a year ago, nothing screams basic quite like the fall. So why don't we talk about the most basic subclass in all of D&D, the Champion. The Champion is a fighter that most people know about but skip to play the Battlemaster instead. And while the Champion is fine in terms of overall quality, it gets lapped hard by every other subclass by a mile. I won't lie to you and claim that the Champion is all bad, because it's not. It's just really boring. It's the Intro to Fighter 101 subclass, the guy that you give to your friend that's never played D&D and wants to sit in on a one-shot. Basically a sandwich made out of toast between two pieces of white bread, you know? However, the Champion does have some good things going for it. And while it may not be the best fighter in our bag, it does better based on what style of game you're playing. And surprisingly, Baldur's Gate, which is kind of funny. So sit back while we find out if the Champion is still the champ, or just a chump. But first, in a city of constant rain where danger lurks in every shadow, there are few that truly call this place home, but those who do find comfort in the pattering rain on the windowsill that feels like the city's heartbeat. Welcome to the Streets of Port Noir, an all-new single-player supplement from the folks over at Obvious Mimic. The same crew that brought us the Wolves of Langston and the Crystals of Zeleth are back in a mystery campaign that you can play all on your own. No need for tables, DMs, or chaotic scheduling, as you can discover the secrets of Port Noir with just your character sheet and a set of dice. But to get the Streets of Port Noir, make sure you head down to the link below and support the Kickstarter right now. Or you can hit that second link to get any of their older adventures like The Secret of Oki Island or The Mystery of Witch Haven. And I'll even throw in 10% off on me if you use my link and code YIMBA10. That's YMBA10 at checkout for 10% off any of these adventures. So a huge thanks to Obvious Mimic for yet another adventure and for sponsoring the show. And now, back to the video. So you want to prove that being a simple little guy is as good as giant magic, shadow manipulation, Jedi powers, horsey skills, or just good old-fashioned ass-kicking? Well, that's a tall order. So to do that, I guess we start out as a fighter. And luckily for us, fighters get all the options when choosing a fighting style, but the Champion is first and foremost a damage dealer. That means that archery, great weapon fighting, or two-weapon fighting will most likely be our best bet, as they can give us the most amount of damage per round. Though to stay in the fight, we sometimes need to take a breather, so Second Wind is great to have, letting us regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus our fighter level on a bonus action. Second level means Action Surge, and this is where things get real, letting us do an entire extra action on our turn. And for us, this means a lot, as extra attacks are basically our favorite thing, but I'll talk about that later. And by later, I mean right now, because that means it's already level 3 where we become a champion and gain improved critical, letting us score critical hits on a 19 or a 20, doubling our chance to deal massive damage. But a 10% chance is still pretty rare, and this only applies to attacks, so like not abilities or saving throws. So, This means in order to get the most out of this subclass, we need ways to either give ourselves advantage in order to crit fish, or get lots of attacks, or hopefully both. So let's keep going. Because 5th level does mean extra attack for 2 attacks per round, or 4 with an action surge. We'll also then jump up to level 7 for Remarkable Athlete, letting us add half our proficiency bonus to any strength, dexterity, or constitution check that doesn't already use your proficiency. And if you make a long jump, the distance increases by a number of feet equal to your strength modifier. And these are fine. But let's skip it for Indomitable at level 9, letting us reroll a saving throw if you fail, pretty good. Level 10 lets us grab an additional fighting style, hey that's cool. So we can grab something like Defense to keep us up while we're dealing damage, or Superior Technique for 1 Battlemaster maneuver that we can pull off per short rest. Level 11 means another extra attack for 3 attacks per round, or 6 with an action surge. We get another Indomitable at level 13 to save from even more stuff. Level 15 means Superior Critical so that we can crit on an 18 through 20, okay, so we're finally cooking. 17th means another another Indomitable, nice, and another Action Surge, hell yeah. And finally at level 18 we get our first really good ability with Survivor. This ability is actually super cool, as whenever you're under half your hit points, you just begin healing 5 plus your Constitution modifier every turn. This stops after you get back to half and can't work if you get knocked out, obviously, so you know, no zombie shenanigans. But since this buff is passive, it means bad guys will have a really hard time taking you down for good. But that means we're already at our capstone with another extra attack at level 20 for 4 attacks per round, or 8 with an Action Surge, giving us 8 chances to land a crit with an attack roll of 18 through 20. So, does the champion really deserve to be the bottom tier? Yeah, kind of. The champion is okay by the nature of it being a fighter, but falls way behind other fighter subclasses because of its lack of variety. I'm not sure why the Spellslingers of the Spring thought the enhanced critical hit was enough to carry this subclass, but it's really not. The effect ends up instead pushing the champion way behind in strength compared to other party members, or forcing you into some really weird and wacky builds to make it work. Relying on feats to increase your damage and attacks can do this somewhat, however. Great Weapon Master gets a bonus action attack on enemy death, Polearm Master gets something similar with the Pommel attack, and Elven Accuracy lets you roll 3 dice on advantage instead of 2, which is incredible, if you can find a way to give yourself advantage. Taking Superior Technique as a fighting style for tripping attack could give you that advantage, but only once per short rest, so it's not that reliable. Your other abilities aren't anything special either. Remarkable Athlete is one of the smallest buffs in the game, basically just giving you extra initiative, and the additional fighting style is fine, but not mind-blowing. Your last ability, Survivor, is actually good, but you don't get that until level 18, and no one really plays to level 18 anyway. Honestly, there seems to be some really simple and common sense ways to change the wording on these to make champion better. Improve critical should reduce the number needed for a crit by 1, instead of stating it needs to be a 19 or a 20. That way it can stack with other abilities that also increase your crit chance. Baldur's Gate does this really well, actually, making the champion a much more fun subclass in that game because it can stack its improved critical ability with items you find on your adventure. Remarkable Athlete should let us add half our proficiency bonus on saves as well. That way we can get the feeling of being kind of unstoppable, as we, dodge through fireballs and traps with ease. And we can basically just double our jump distance so we can bounce around the battlefield. Honestly, these are small changes overall, but can make a huge difference when it comes to the quality of life stuff that I think the champion desperately needs. But yeah, unfortunately, the way it's currently ripping, the champion has issues as its own subclass, but it actually makes for a really cool multi-class. Pairing champion with Rose gives you not only ways to rack up damage, but more ways to get advantage for Elven Accuracy, meaning you can not only benefit from more chances to crit, but more damage dice rolls on those crits. Same for Paladins, who would love an extra chance to pop off a smite. Barbarians do crazy numbers with their level 2 advantage and improved crits so they can do even better with the champion, and even monks with their 100 hits per turn make this subclass better than it is on its own. It's a shame because I like the idea of a combat-focused, attack-heavy fighter, someone who has honed their body to insane levels just to deal increasing amounts of damage, but it really doesn't live up to that idea. Some of this is the PHB effect in that newer subclasses got stronger over time, but when you stand this guy up next to somebody like the Battlemaster, which came out in the same book, or the Rune Knight, I'm sorry, but it's really not a competition. So the champion is sadly kind of bad. But it's not unplayable, it just doesn't give you much to work with. However, everyone has to start somewhere, and I'm sure plenty of you have played a champion before. But for me, this is one of those subclasses that desperately needs an update.
Oh, look at that. That's nice and shiny.
Well, it's a 78.
Yeah, it's looking good. Looked really good.
But if you enjoy not having a manual to read to lay down a hammer strike, are incredible at big moments but kind of mid at everything else, and aren't gonna let world-shattering, reality-warping, time-manipulating spellcasters convince you that whacking people on the noggin isn't the best thing in life, guess what? You might be a champion. Hey guys, thank you all so much for watching. I'm excited to dig into the new 2024 champion next week, so stay tuned for that. But if you like what I do, make sure to hit this video with a like or a comment or a hype. It really goes a long way into helping out the channel. But if you really like what I do, make sure to jump on over to the Patreon for just $1 so you can get your name up here with all these awesome people, with top-tiered patrons getting games DM'd by me. So to those guys, King Osiris, Tedzy, Sorisen, Miles Not Yard, Spider Lover, John S, Copper Dragon, Yuki, Spellslinger, and Epic Medic, you all are the best. best. To everyone else, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you very soon.